What's up, YouTube? It's Ryan from AnnihilatorMTG here, and I'm back again with some more Modern. Today we're going to be playing Orzhov Flicker. Last week, when I was playing Blue-White Stoneblade, I really saw the overall strength of Skyclave Apparition, so I decided to throw it into an Orzhov mid-range shell with Ephemerate for value. Every single creature that we're running has some form of important enter the battlefield effect. Starting from the top, we have Wall of Omens, which replaces itself, can be blinked for additional value, and can block effectively. Then we have Stoneforge Mystic, which is an incredibly powerful card and often takes priority with our opponent's removal spells. We're also running Tidehollow Sculler, which is made even better by the Ephemerate, which actually diminishes some of the drawbacks of the Exile effect. And finally, we have the aforementioned Skyclave Apparition, which does a marvelous job of dealing with a myriad of threats in the format. It's additionally worth noting that we are choosing to go with a mainboard Sword of Fire and Ice as a means of ignoring any of the illusions that we give our opponent with our Skyclave. When we pair these cards with some of the more popular mid-range auto-includes, I feel like we have a really compelling build. Overall, I feel like this deck is rather well positioned against a good amount of the meta, but especially aggro. This pretty much wraps up the deck list breakdown, so let's hop into the first match and see how it performs. Alrighty, looks like we found our opponent here. Best of luck to you, my friend, and we won the die roll. Good stuff. So it looks like we're playing against a Lurrus deck, which is kind of annoying. That kind of recursion is super good, but we do have a lot of interaction here, which is awesome. So we're going to keep. Let's go Marsh Flats, and I want to get a basic just in case we're dealing with some kind of crazy aggro. Then we go for the Inquisition. If we didn't have as many lands, I might not do that, but we'll have to see. They've got a Courier, a Dismember, a Bolt, a Swift Spear, and a Whisper. Now, if we're just taking based on quantity, the Whisper or the Courier is the way to go. Maybe even the Dismember if we're worried about them blowing up our creatures and stuff. But I think the Whisper is a huge asset, so we're just going to take that. All right, we'll pass. It's very likely that they will just haphazardly dismember our Wall of Omens, just because they want to kind of bring down their life total, and blowing up our wall is a great way of doing that. So a part of me almost wants to just go Sculler and then take, I guess, the Bolt. We can sort of force them to use the Dismember. Yeah, I like that idea, actually. We get a field. That's all right. We're going to crack the Marsh Flats, get a basic, still being concerned about potential Blood Moon shenanigans, stuff that we don't want to have to even think about. We're going to hit them with a Sculler. We'll take that Bolt, inviting them to hit us with a Dismember, and we'll pass. They go Blood Crypt, untapped, of course. Then I assume we're going to see Courier plus Dismember. They got the Dismember. Sculler dies, but we did force them to use it, which is awesome. Definitely served its purpose. Now, will we see a Courier or just a Bolt? They swing in. It's kind of odd, actually. I would expect something. Why not just play the Courier? Let's go Silent Clearing. Then we're going to Inquisition. Let's see if they just bolt themselves. I've seen that before. They'll be at 9 life total, which is actually really good. Nope, they're going to hit us. But now I can't help but wonder what they're really thinking, because their assets are just plummeting. Double Courier and they didn't even use one? Okay, that's questionable. Let's take the opportunity to go for the Stoneforge just because it's safe. It's also the perfect card to block Courier. So I think we're likely just going to go Sword. It might be better to go Batterskull, but here I really like the Sword. Clears up pretty much everything they're doing. And the only thing we then need to worry about is Fatal Push. And then they play a Swamp. I'm pretty sure they have like a Delta in hand or something. They might just crack their Horizon land. They put Lurrus in hand though. That's cool. All right, they do not attack. They pass. We draw. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. We go Sculler. They are not going to like this. We take the Lurrus, and now we're good to go. Super punished. They play a Bloodstained Mire. Okay. They play the Courier, specifically with the Horizon land, which they could cash in for another card, but chose not to. They attack. Let's block with a Stoneforge. They crack the Courier. All right. They lose the Delta. Let's see what they got in its place. So far, so good. A replacement Courier. Cool. Let's go activate the Stoneforge. We'll bring in the Sword. Now, what are we going to do here? I think I want to crack the field, hit their Sunbake Canyon, punish them for not using the Horizon land earlier, which is pretty gnarly. They get a Swamp, that's fine. Let's equip the Sculler with a Sword. This gives it protection and also makes it much less susceptible to die in combat, which is pretty cool. We're going to swing in. I assume they're just going to block with a Courier, because if they don't, then we get a Sword trigger, which matters way more. They go for the block. So the Lurrus is taken care of, which is super important, and the Sculler is protected. Now, I really don't know what they do in terms of actually stabilizing from here. A Death Shadow would be super solid, but we've got double silent clearing, and they scoop it up. All right. So in a matchup like this, it's actually really straightforward. We're going to bring in the Purges and the Kaya, both phenomenal. I also really like the Feast and Famine. I think here we can likely cut on 2 Ephemerate. I want to say maybe 2 Thoughtseize, and then I think maybe even cut a Wall. Now, usually in the Shadow matchup, I find myself struggling, especially on the Game 2 matches where we're on the draw, simply because them being able to lead with whatever hand attack they like and then protect themselves by being aggressive, it just becomes a little bit difficult. So I think what I'm going to do here is just keep this hand. It's lands and spells, and we have a lot of powerful cards. And it looks like they went down to 6. That's always good. They go for the Verdant Catacombs. They crack it immediately. All right, here comes the hand attack. They go Blood Crypt, untapped, and a Thoughtseize. So I think this is likely going to be Sculler if they've got a lot of hand attack. If they don't, then it's going to be Skyclave or Lily. It's my guess anyways. And they take the Liliana. We draw for turn, Stoneforge. The cards just get better and better. We're going to go with the Courtyard and pass. Our opponent draws for turn. They go for the Bauble. They crack it immediately, targeting themselves, likely deciding on if they want to go fetch land or maybe something else, but they're just passing? No way. Stuck on lands. That's rough, dude. They draw off the Bauble. We get a Sword of Feast and Famine. That's actually incredible. What that means is I'm now inclined to just go Sculler, because this is the sword we wanted anyways. So we don't really need to fetch for it. All right, let's see what they're rocking with. Oh, don't tell me they're going to respond and blow it up. That's kind of insane. So now we get to exile our opponent's card and never have to give it back. Let's see here. We can take the Shadow and then exile the other one with the Skyclave. That sounds tempting, although the K command is a huge problem, especially against a sword. So what we might have to do is go a little bit deep and just try to manipulate our opponent into maybe hitting us with a K command and destroying the other sword. So for now, we're going to take the free exile on the Death Shadow. One thing they might have been thinking is we're just going to dismember the Sculler just so they can get the life reduction, and they value that more than getting the Shadow back. That might be the case, but for them to immediately go Swift Spear tells me that that was probably just a fast and loose kind of move. They swing in with a Swift Spear. All right, we're down to 19. They still don't have any lands. We draw, getting a Sculler. Okay, let's crack the Marsh Flats. Then I want to go Plains, Sculler, and here I'm going to take the Shadow for a couple of reasons. One, if they draw land and they're not guaranteed to, it doesn't matter that they still have K command because they can't cast it. They need 3 mana for it. And even then, this is now saying, hey, you need to K command this to get your Shadow back. They managed to find a Polluted Delta, so now they're probably going to go Skyclave, but it's going to be relatively weak. And another cool thing about this is they can't attack with a Swift Spear because their hand is the Scourge and K command, and they might just do absolutely nothing. Let's go Sculler again. Now they're basically in a giant hole because we have both their Shadow and the K command, and now we're going to go Stoneforge, getting the other sword, or maybe even Batterskull, although I think the sword is probably fine. We have a pretty good life total. We get the sword. Now we're just good to go. We'll swing in with the Sculler. We don't have to worry about them pumping anything up with Prowess because the only card in hand is the Scourge. We also don't have to worry about life totals too much because even if they jam a Shadow, we have protection in the form of the Sword of Feast and Famine and the Skyclave. This deck in particular, I feel like does very well in these Shadow matchups where having nothing but answers is just a phenomenal thing, especially when those answers are oftentimes creatures, which is pretty cool. And our opponent scoops it up. Nice, GG's. Alrighty, looks like we found our opponent here. Best of luck to you, my friend. And this hand is pretty darn good. We have a Thoughtseize into a Stoneforge, and that's hard to beat. The only real downside here is that we're not on the play. Them also having a Thoughtseize could potentially put a snag in things. They go for the Thoughtseize, okay. We'll play a Swamp and pass. They go Blooming Marsh, okay. Looks like they're passing as well. It's not exactly what I would have expected. Secondary Stoneforge means we can be crazy aggressive with the first one. So we'll jam, and let's go Batterskull. I expect an Assassin's Trophy or Abrupt Decay at some point, or Fatal Push, that works too. They draw for turn. They're at 5 cards in hand, we're at 6. They go for a field. This is a really tame mid-range build that we're playing against. I don't really get it. Duplicate Lily? I like that. We're going for it. We're going to uptick, and I think what we're going to do, which might be a little bit foolish, we're going to ditch the Sculler, because I assume that they have some kind of removal spell. Seeing as they actually discarded an Assassin's Trophy, that tells me that they have something else, which means that having another Liliana is crucial. They go for the Field of Ruin. We're going to get a Swamp because we do want to play that second Liliana. All right, they get a very odd-looking snow-covered forest. Cool. They draw for turn. They go for a Verdant Catacombs. They crack it immediately. They get a Swamp. So what will they do with all this mana? Dang. All right, we'll hard pass. I can respect that. They swing in, we take some damage, and then they destroy the Lily. We draw for turn. It's a field. It's pretty good. So let's jam a Lily. We'll Edict. It sucks not being able to uptick, but we'll be fine. Our opponent draws for turn, making us even. Oh, don't tell me. Oh, the second questing beast, bro. All right, here we go. They swing in. We're down to 11. The Lily dies. Okay. Honestly, that's pretty gnarly. Let's go crack the field on their peatland. We'll get a Plains. Then we're going to go Skyclave and hit the Questing Beast. Hopefully that can survive. Doesn't look like it will. Fatal Push. Nice. At the very least, we can hardcast a Batterskull. We can also go Stoneforge Mystic, get ourselves a sword. Luckily for us, that Field of Ruin is effectively pointless. Can't really target anything. They swing in for 4 with their illusion. We get a Wall of Omens. I think we can get a little bit aggressive here by going for the wall. See what we find. Lily. Incredible. We jam the Lily. Once again, we Edict. Our opponent draws for turn. They play a land. I assume they drew that. But yeah, talk about a mid-range battle. This has been incredible. They pass. We draw. Wall of Omens. Not bad. Let's go Stoneforge Mystic. We'll hit yes. Then we'll go Sword. I think we're going to uptick and ditch the wall. They're doing things. They go Lily's Triumph. We'll sack the wall. Discard a wall. Hardcast the sword. And we'll pass. Now, if our opponent whiffs and hits something irrelevant, or even if it's just a creature without haste, we're going to be in such a good position. And they hit a land. Perfect. We draw for turn. Another wall. Let's equip. Then I want to actually go with a Wall of Omens. Inquisition. Perfect. Let's uptick. We'll ditch the Inquisition. And now we swing. This takes them down to 9, and then the sword takes them to 7. Shambling Event. We somehow managed to survive double Questing Beast, which is just incredible. They go for the Inquisition, I assuming just searching for a little bit of extra info. They'll find nothing of value, because I'm pretty sure they already knew about that. And here we are. I think we want to cut the Sword of Fire and Ice for the Feast and Famine. Then I definitely want the Purges. They were pretty green heavy though, so that's something to be potentially concerned about. I think we could probably cut maybe 2 Ephemerate and then like a wall. Yeah, why not? We'll do that. Here we go. Mid-range Mirror, which is awesome because it's like this 2-color showdown. Now, unfortunately, I don't really see us keeping this hand. It's not good at all. Mulliganing against a mid-range deck is not the move, but we'll have to make it work. I think we'll ship the basic because they're going to be going deep with those fields. This should be fine. They go Verdant Catacombs. Are they passing? Wow. All right. There's a land. Let's go Shambling Vent. We'll pass. They're cracking their Verdant Catacombs, getting an Overgrown Tomb, of course. They draw for turn. See what they got. They go Snow-Covered Forest, and then Bob. Excellent. All right, there's a Field of Ruin. Let's crack the Marsh Flats. I want to get, I think a basic is fine. And then we're going to go Purge. Taken care of. Now, of course, if they have a Liliana, we're going to be in a little bit of trouble. But if they don't, we're going to be in such a great position. They play their Swamp. Here they go. That's certainly a Liliana, just not the one I expected. Oh boy. They mill and find a Questing Beast. Absolutely brutal. What can we do here that'll actually help? Let's go Clearing. Sculler, hold priority. Gotta make sure we stack this correctly. We go Ephemerate. We let that resolve. We stack it like this, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, don't think the stacking order really matters too much, but we'll take a look. They've got Lily, Beast, Decay. I think we can still Edict the Questing Beast. Like, that's no problem. So let's just take the Lily. I might have done that wrong. We'll take the Questing Beast. We'll exile that one permanently. Our opponent draws for turn. This Sculler is going to die. That's just how it is. And it does. Didn't they have an untapped land? Holy smokes. Was I not paying attention to that? Did they not have an untapped land? Okay, well, never mind. All is well, sort of. Let's go Marsh Flats, crack it, get a Swamp. Then let's go Shambling Vent. Hopefully this doesn't get pushed. It can't be decayed. We'll attack the Lily. We're good. At least for now. Let's see if they go for the Lily. They will. I think we're just going to probably ditch, I want to say, the field. They dump a peat land, and they have nothing else. That's really good. We draw Courtyard. Do we go Lily or do we attack? I think we go Lily, actually, now that I think about it, just in case they have a push. We'll uptick. Ooh, is this an abrupt decay? It is, okay. Well, either way, that's taken care of. Now we're both empty-handed, and I have a man land. Of course, they have a Field of Ruin, so that's not helpful either. They will likely take care of that right now. They instead choose to go for the Horizon land. Yeah, buddy. All right. Of course, they have a second field. That does make sense. They uptick. We draw. Batterskull. Nice. We jam it. So now this is going to force them to Edict, which is pretty cool. Things are going to be a little bit slow. We'll get a swamp here. Hard pass. See what we can do. All right, we sacrifice the germ. That's fine. Draw a path. Let's go return the Batterskull to hand. We'll hard pass. I mean, the unfortunate thing is we're just basically buying time kind of like just forever, because I'm pretty sure all this does is net like, what, 2 damage to the Lily, and that's it, because this will have Summoning Sickness, and that's not helpful. Draw field, yeah. You know what, I'll tell you what, we're just going to scoop this one up. Let's see, is there anything we really care about here? Probably not. Yeah, we'll just resubmit. Now, unfortunately, a one-lander is pretty rough. Although with that said, we've got plenty to work with here. I think we can maybe try it. All right, let's go Godless Shrine. Then we'll go Inquisition. All right, let's see what we've got here. Fulminator Mage, gross. Inquisition, push, pulse, questing beast. Well, let's take the Inquisition for now. We'll hard pass. Our opponent goes Marsh. They pass. We draw land, thank goodness. Let's go Thoughtseize. Now they've got a beast, a Dark Confidant, which we can deal with. Fulminator Mage, which we can't deal with. Push, pulse, beast. We'll take the mage, and we'll pass. Things are working out slowly. I really don't want to have to path the Confidant. They go for an Inquisition? Wow. All right. I figured they'd want to get ahead with a Bob. Or did they not have another land? I'm pretty sure they did, right? They've got a Verdant Catacombs. Yeah. They take the sword. Okay. It's probably for the best. We get a Courtyard. Nice. Let's go Wall of Omens. We'll draw. All right. We get a Marsh Flats. So our land problem is relatively taken care of. Now we just got to deal with our opponent's threats. They crack the fetch, get a swamp, then go for a push. Sure. So they have Pulse, Beast, and an Unknown, I want to say. No, they have a Dark Confidant. Right. They play it, and then they play Blooming Marsh. Okay. Well, the thing is we just can't let them have this under pretty much any circumstance. Bob is ridiculous. All right, they get a basic. We draw for turn. Marsh Flats, figures. Let's go crack the Marsh Flats. Get a Godless Shrine. Gonna go field on the Marsh. We'll get a Plains. They get a Swamp. We'll pass. They draw for turn. I assume we're going to see a Beast. They play another Marsh. Here it comes. We path it. So now all they have is a Pulse. If we can top deck a Liliana, we'll be in. There it is. Okay. Totally not scripted. Let's crack the Marsh Flats. Get a Swamp. We go for the Lily. Then we uptick. They lose the Pulse. And now they're in top deck mode. Please, no Questing Beast off the top. Please and thank you. We draw for turn. Sculler. We'll go for it. Targeting them. They go Veil. Then we can just go uptick. They lose a Verdant Catacombs. Sure. So now we have a creature. And this has more value to me without a card underneath it than it does with one. So I'm actually happy about that. It's just going to take 8 years to actually have this mean something, considering it's only a 2/2. They play a Bob. We can Edict that no problem. Get a Skyclave. I think I'm going to go Skyclave and take care of it that way and just get one step closer to ulting with a Lily. That might be the thing that really turns the tide. We swing in, got them down to 17. They draw for turn. Looks like they're passing. We draw, Inquisition. Don't need that. I think what I want to do here is a greedy. I know. We're going to uptick. Don't blow up in my face. It blew up in my face. Only sort of, though, so that's fine. All right, we still have the Skyclave. Think we're going to go for it. We'll hard pass on their turn. Please just be a land. It's a Bob. Okay. We draw Wall of Omens. Let's jam. We yield. Sculler. Guess we just hit it with the Edict. We Sculler. Hit done. We'll swing in with the Apparition. They're at 13. They draw for turn. Land. Excellent. They crack it. They go Tarmogoyf. Okay. We draw. Courtyard. We Edict them again. We'll move to combat. Swing in for 4. We got them in a 9. They draw for turn. They go Lily. Okay. I think they just Edict. They're going to uptick. Okay. That seems meaningless. We get a Stoneforge. That's good. We jam. Let's get that Batterskull. Let's move to combat. Let's attack Lily with both of our bears. Lily dies. We're getting there, slowly. They draw for turn. They hit us with an Abrupt Decay. All right. Well, now it is absolutely time to get aggressive. 100%. Stoneforge Mystic. Fine. What's the equip cost? It's 5. Sure. Now, what's the chances of them having a damnation? It's probably not high, but I want to be careful. We'll swing in for 4, and then we're just going to hold up the Batterskull. I think that's probably our best bet. I was thinking we can go Stoneforge and then hold up Batterskull, but I'd much rather min-max properly. And they scoop it up. GG's. Wow, that was something else. Alrighty, looks like we found our opponent here. Best of luck to you, my friend, and we won the die roll. Good stuff. So taking a look at this hand, we've got a pretty good group of cards here. 3 lands and a bunch of good spells. I'll never complain about that. Looks like our opponent went down to 6. Let's go Marsh Flats. The reason I'm doing this is because if they're playing a Blood Moon deck or something like that, us getting a Plains is crucial. And even then, we'll have access to all the colors that we'll possibly need as they go for a mine. That's just great. All right, let's get a Godless Shrine, put that in tapped. They play an Expedition map. We draw, Manland. That ain't gonna cut it. Let's go Shrine. Do we want to go Sculler or do we want to go Mystic? I think we go Sculler, right? Let's take a look. What a hand. Let's take the Stirrings. They already have more than enough ways to actually get to their Tron. It's just gonna take them some time, which is cool. They go for the Scrying. They get a tower. Let's go for that Liliana. We shall uptick. Let's get rid of probably the Vent. They dump a forest. We'll move to attacks, swing in, and then we'll pass. We'll pass on their turn as well. They play the tower. Then they go Chromatic Sphere. They pass. Good enough to me. Let's go Inquisition. Let's take the Sylvan Scrying. Then I want to uptick. Let's dump probably the Ephemerate. They lose a Blast Zone. Then let's go Stoneforge. We'll hit yes. Then let's go probably Batterskull. We'll swing in with a Sculler, and then we'll pass. They crack the map, getting their last Tron piece. They draw for turn. They play it. Let's see if they got something nice. They tap the power plant to crack the sphere, playing a star. Okay. They crack that as well for a red. That's odd. Then they go Relic. Sure. That's fine by me. We draw for turn. Field. Excellent. That is superb. Let's uptick. They crack the Relic. We'll let that through. Our opponent discards, as do we. Let's get rid of the Skyclave. All right, they dump a forest. Then we'll field. Let's hit probably the tower. We'll get a Plains. They get a forest. And then we're just going to hold up the Stoneforge, and we'll swing in with a Sculler. We actually might get there. Our opponent draws for turn. They get the tower. That's fun. They play a star. They crack it immediately, getting a green. They draw. It's going to be 8 mana. Walking Ballista. Okay, that's fine. I think we can work with that. It's not ideal, but it's manageable. They start hitting the Lily immediately. Let's activate the Stoneforge, jamming the Batterskull. Beautiful. We draw for turn. Skyclave. We play it, target the Ballista. So now they can't kill the Lily. They target the Lily. Once again, all of them at the Liliana. All right, we will uptick. Now we're good to go. Let's swing in with a team. And that's 7 damage, so 1 more attack and we win. Hopefully it's not a Nugan. And they scoop it up. Nice. Okay. We definitely want the spheres. Those are very good. What do we not want? Pushes are pretty subpar, for sure. And I think we can likely cut on, like, maybe an Ephemerate. Do we want anything else? Spell bombs aren't that good. Purges aren't really going to do anything. Sword is fine. This might be better than Fire and Ice. I think we're fine with what we see here. Maybe bring in the Kaya if we expect like a Pithing Needle. Let's cut a wall for that. We'll submit. All right, game number 2. I don't think we're going to be keeping this hand. It's just not very good, so we'll ship it back. We have Inquisition, Lily, Skyclave, Sculler. I guess that's okay. We'll ship the duplicate Lily, and try this. They go mine. Oh, they're just passing? Wow, that's surprising. We draw a Silent Clearing. Let's crack the Marsh Flats, get ourselves a Shrine. Then we go Inquisition. Take a look at this. Double Spirit Dragon, Tower, Stirrings. Let's take the Scrying for now. They go Chromatic Star. Okay. Then Tower. They crack it. Likely going to go for the Stirrings. Indeed they do. Let's see what they get. Come on, no power plant. They get a Sphere. Excellent. We draw, get a Kaya. That's pretty cool. Let's go for the Marsh Flats. I think I want to crack it. Probably get like a Swamp. And then we're going to go Sculler. And here what I'm going to do is, oh, what's this? Thragtusk? Gross. I think I'm just going to take the Sphere. That might be totally wrong, but it will potentially lock them out of green for just enough time. They draw for turn. They go Blast Zone. Perfect. They pass. We draw. Plains, we'll play it. We go for the Lily. We uptick. Let's get rid of the Clearing. I assume they're going to drop the duplicate Ugin, as they do. We swing in. So they have Thragtusk, Ugin, and an Unknown. They draw for turn. They're tapping 2 mana. They go Spatial Contortion. That's fine. If they don't have another land, this is going to be hilarious. Oh, yes. Perfect. Let's uptick. We'll dump the clearing. They drop the Thragtusk. That's odd. We shall go Kaya. The real downside here is that we are very heavily invested in the 3-drop slot, which is bad against a Blast Zone, but I think we should be fine. We exile the Spear and we passed. See what our opponent's doing here. 3 mana, O-Stone? Oh yes. Looks like they're passing. Well, this should be fun. We draw, Wall of Omens. We go Skyclave. What's amazing is we haven't gotten a sphere or a field. We're just doing the thing, which is incredible. All right, let's uptick with a Lily. We're going to unfortunately have to lose our wall. So they're just left with an Ugin, which is very powerful, especially if they top deck anything even marginally good. So let's exile some stuff. Beautiful. We shall pass. Land, specifically power plant, saves them and completely toasts us. All right, perfect. We have another Skyclave. Let's uptick with Akaya, choose some stuff, gain some life. Then we'll ult. We'll do one of these. They choose to keep the tower. That's kind of insane. Let's swing in for an attack, I guess. I mean, functionally speaking, they're just the same card. Our opponent passes. We draw. Swamp. That's good. Let's keep doing things with Kaya. We uptick. We move to combat. We swing in. So far, so good. Our opponent draws, and they scoop it up. We beat Tron really without any sideboard stuff, which is crazy. And there you have it. Orzhov Flicker is definitely a fun deck to play, and I highly recommend it to anyone who wants to try something new, but still likes playing some of the familiar stuff like Thoughtseize and Liliana of the Veil. In terms of competitive viability, it's close, but I don't think it's there just yet. There are other decks that I've tried that were definitely stronger than this, but if your local meta happens to be filled to the brim with aggro whenever those come back, this deck is definitely something to try. I wanted to apologize for some of the audio issues in this video. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, so my voice isn't exactly up to par, and I didn't really have time to mix the audio the way I would like, so I really appreciate your patience. In terms of what I'm playing next, I want to try out Grixis Delver, get a little bit more low to the ground, some other user-requested decks, and maybe some budget stuff, so let me know in the comments what you guys would like to see. I want to thank each and every one of you for your time. Please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. This stuff really helps me out, so I appreciate it, and as always, stay safe out there and have a good one.